Direct appeal for mercy overnight, the rap mogul writing to the judge, "I lost my way," adding, "I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs."
Defense says it's so outdated, it's ridiculous that he's even, still in jail and that he's, being considered for more years behind bars. But the prosecution says that this law was meant to.
Sean Diddy Combs is now in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York, where his long-awaited sentencing is taking place. This moment comes after decades of legal battles, starting with a dismissed gun possession case in 1999, followed by several civil lawsuits in the 2000s, and most recently a series of federal indictments in 2020. The jury had previously cleared him of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges. However, he was found guilty on 2 counts of transporting individuals for prostitution under the Mann Act, with each charge carrying a possible sentence of up to 10 years in prison. The decision will determine not only his future but also how the public remembers his legacy. Many supporters outside the courthouse are waiting anxiously, hoping for leniency while critics demand accountability. With the courtroom tense and global attention on the case, Diddy's 4 lawyers and his family are pleading with Judge Arun Subramanian. They argue that he has changed, regrets his past, and is ready to prove he is not the same man he once was.
In a direct appeal for mercy overnight, the rap mogul writing to the judge, "I lost my way," adding, "I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs." Though he was acquitted of more serious charges, federal prosecutors said Combs left women broken and beaten and deserves 11 years in prison. Defense attorneys called that draconian, far-fetched, and absurd. But prosecutors pointing to this 2016 hotel security camera footage that shows Combs attacking then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura as proof Combs has a penchant for violence, threats, and emotional control. In a letter to the judge, Ventura said, "I am so scared that if he walks free, his first actions will be swift retribution towards me and others who spoke up."
I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
Combs apologized after the video became public and now says, "I literally lost my mind. I was dead wrong for putting my hands on the woman that I loved. I'm sorry for that and always will."
Oh my God. People are really saying this about P. Diddy right now. But who actually believes he will be as good as he claims? If anyone truly thinks Diddy will change and be a better person, then explain how. From the looks of it, Diddy and his lawyers are doing everything they can to make sure he either walks free or spends less time behind bars. New reports are already coming out with the latest updates from the courtroom. The whole world seems divided. Some think he deserves another chance, while others believe justice has to be strict this time. Whatever the outcome, this case is already one of the biggest stories in the music world and beyond.
4 defense lawyers who are expected to speak. And that's going to stretch it out. Also, the prosecution will speak. Oftentimes with these sentencing proceedings, they argue about things you might not expect, like how to calculate the federal sentencing guidelines that judges don't have to follow, but they're supposed to calculate them and then decide how it plays into what the ultimate sentence is. So sometimes I've seen arguments for something like that go on for 3 hours, or they could be arguing over what's the amount of money involved in the crime and how that might factor into the sentencing. You just never know what roads they might go down that might make the sentencing last a lot longer than you expect. I saw that poll that you're conducting. That was interesting because let's keep in mind, first of all, Combs has already spent almost 13 months behind bars. His defense lawyers say that's enough. He shouldn't spend any more time in jail. But the prosecution says he should not spend less than 11 years and 3 months in prison. And the probation department that the judges use as a barometer of how perhaps the evidence should be used as they make their decisions, the probation department is recommending a 12-year prison term. Oftentimes, I find the judges in this courthouse tend to cut it down the middle. If that occurred, it would mean that Combs would probably get a sentence somewhere between 4 to 6 years.
Just 4 to 6 years. If that happens, it would show how money can bend the law and make justice meaningless. When it comes to crime, a criminal should face the maximum punishment. After all, Criminals don't think about consequences when committing their acts. But when it's time to face justice, suddenly there's drama, pleas for mercy, and endless excuses that only make the situation more disgusting. Nothing else should matter except the law. Yet the debate continues. Will he get a light sentence? Will he face the full punishment? Or could he even walk free one day? The uncertainty only raises more questions about whether justice is truly being served.
The prosecutors want 11 years. Defense wants him out by the end of the year. What's likely to happen?
Somewhere in between. I think it's more likely that he'll get something like 5 years in that area. The key question is going to be, how much does the judge take into consideration the other stuff, meaning the video, some of the crimes that he was not convicted of? Some people may say, wait a second, if he's acquitted, how can you consider that in sentencing? Well, it's possible that the judge could consider that, because when you're talking about sentencing, a judge can take into consideration, is the person a good person? Are they a bad person? Have they done other bad things or good things in their life? Think about it. On the positive side, people are going to bring in character witnesses and say, he's a great guy. The reverse applies as well. And so the question is going to be, how much does the judge take into consideration the bad things when sentencing?
Well, we heard Aaron say that one of the victims, Mia, is going to give an impact statement, but there are also some character letters supporting Combs. How does that come into play?
I don't know that all is going to make that much of a difference. I mean, judges don't like to admit this, but the judge is going to come in with a real good idea of where the sentence is going to be. It's not going to change as a result of that. And I think the fact that the probation department has said 5 to 7 years means that's pretty close to where it likely will end up.
You've covered a lot of these types of trials, especially with a video like the one in the hotel. Does he ever live beyond this, even if he gets out?
That's what makes this different than a white-collar case, right? In some of these other cases where we've heard about high-profile people charged with crimes, and they move on with their lives, and they're able to get back. It's going to be much harder for Sean Combs because of that video and because of what the testimony was in connection with this case.
It seems clearer than ever that people like P. Diddy are trying to manipulate the system, using their wealth to control the outcome. He appears willing to spend whatever it takes, hiring top lawyers, pushing every possible argument, and doing everything in his power to tilt the case in his favor. From the way his legal team is presenting their defense, the focus feels more on emotional appeals than on real logic. They argue that because Diddy has already spent months in prison, he should be released immediately. Their message is basically, why more time? Let him go. But these arguments brush aside the seriousness of the crimes he was actually convicted of. And if that reasoning succeeds, it sends a dangerous message. That money and influence matter more than justice. It tells ordinary people that the system works differently depending on who you are and how much you can pay. So the question remains, after all the manipulation, the power moves, and the courtroom theatrics, should P. Diddy really be set free? Should someone guilty of serious crimes be allowed to walk away with little consequence? Or does the law still mean something, demanding accountability no matter how rich, famous, or powerful you are?
It's an interesting law. I mean, the defense says it's so outdated, it's ridiculous that he's even, still in jail, and that he's, being considered for more years behind bars. But the prosecution says that this law was meant to prevent all the things that come with those prostitution-related crimes, like drugs, which played prominent role in the Combs case. And the prostitution, the abuse of women, which again they say played a big role in the case, and especially in the violence. Combs was on video beating up his now ex-girlfriend Cassie. Longer name is Cassandra. Her nickname is Cassie, and she's been very public, even writing a letter to the judge saying he should spend considerable time in jail because his victims are fearful of him, that when he gets out, he'll seek retribution against them. So, prosecution put in 7 letters from many of I believe 6 of them had testified at the trial, saying these people fear for their lives if he gets out. And they're not buying a letter he wrote to the judge that was submitted last night, in which he says he is a changed man. He says that when he was first locked up in August of last year, or actually September of last year, he became very depressed and considered that maybe his life shouldn't even go on. And he has been, his lawyers say, on suicide watch the entire time he's been in jail.
So, I believe that after all of this, P. Diddy should face the harshest punishment possible, the maximum sentence the law allows. If the judge fails to enforce it, then questions will inevitably rise about influence, power, and even possible conspiracies shaping the outcome. This case has already revealed how fame, money, and powerful legal teams can attempt to bend the rules, but true justice should never be compromised. The world is watching, and the decision here could set a precedent for how the justice system treats celebrities in the future. If the law bends for the wealthy, it undermines faith in the entire system and sends the wrong message to ordinary people who are held fully accountable for their actions. Equal justice under the law must mean exactly that. Equal for everyone, not selective for the privileged. Stay tuned, because I will continue to bring you the most accurate and up-to-date information as this story unfolds. From courtroom updates to expert analysis, you will get the full picture of what is happening behind the scenes. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell and follow along, because you won't want to miss a single development in this high-profile case. This is more than just one man's trial. It's a test of whether justice in America truly works the same for everyone. Will power and wealth win again? Or will the law finally stand tall? The answer will decide not only Diddy's future but also how much faith people still have in the system. One thing is certain, whatever happens next, the world will be watching and history will remember.